Is this product worth $399? Let's open it up. Alright, so here it is, the GoPro Hero 7 Black, and there's the bread and butter, Hyper Smooth. 12 megapixel stills, 4K video, waterproof, voice control, touchscreen, super slow mode, GPS, high dynamic range, hyper smooth, and live streaming. Sounds good? Here's a list of accessories, and just in case you forgot how the internet worked, this is where you can go to download the GoPro app. Alright, let's get this thing opened up. Doesn't look much different from any other GoPro, but hopefully a lot more powerful on the inside. Nothing else in here. Let's get this out of the way. Open this up. A flyer for GoPro Plus. I do recommend this for the warranty. Some stickers for my kids' helmets and lunch boxes. A user manual just in case your great grandfather wants to learn how to use this GoPro. Otherwise, go to YouTube. A GoPro flat adhesive mount, and this 3M here at the bottom, it's like cement. The GoPro's battery. These things do run out of juice pretty quick, so I do recommend getting an extra one. This battery is about half the size as the new iPhone XS battery, and if you're shooting 4K, again, it's going to run out pretty quick. A charging cable, nothing special. Another flat adhesive mount. You really can't have enough of these. They really do stick to anything. Okay, so let's get this off of here. There we go. As to be expected, it is extremely lightweight, but it still feels very well built. This right here is where you charge the battery, but first we gotta get this case off. So just pull down in the direction of the arrow. It feels like it's gonna break, but trust me, it won't. Slide this down, push the GoPro out from the opposite side, and it comes right out. Again, tiny, plastic, but well built. Get the sticker off. This GoPro Hero 7 Black really has fantastic audio compared to the previous models. You can see the recording specs on the screen while you're shooting. Here's the battery and micro SD port. This little tab on the battery is critical for getting the battery out because it is a tight fit, so make sure you're keeping this intact. Let's close this up. One last thing, the mounting buckle. This is going to connect the GoPro case to the adhesive clips. I do wish it came with more of these though. So let's pop this battery in, power it on. Select the language, agree to legal, allow GPS, download the app, connect the camera, pair the Bluetooth, and now your connection's all set up. A couple last things you probably want to do is change the camera's name. Let's go with Johnny Square. The app will automatically tell you if there's any software or firmware updates, so it's a quick process. Make sure you're updating those, more legal stuff, and you're ready to go. Alright, so we are here at a regular old park. It's not skydiving out of a plane, it's not scuba diving in Bali, but it's going to give you an idea of what this can do on a regular basis. So what you're looking at right here is actually going to be the Canon SL2. So to give you an idea of what the standard kit lens can do on this Canon SL2, this is 18 millimeters. This is as wide as the kit lens can go on this. But again, with this additional lens, the 10 to 18 millimeter, it can actually go as wide as this, which again now feels very much like the GoPro. But this lens is an additional $299, so it's about $100 for the mic, $299 for this wide-angle lens, and about $600 to $650 on average for the Canon SL2 with the kit lens. Yes, this camera's not waterproof, but it can do a whole lot more as far as depth of field and things of that nature. So if you're looking to get into cinematography, if you're looking to get into videography, this Canon SL2 is going to be a little bit more expensive, but again, it is very versatile in what it can do, even for an entry-level DSLR. If you want to hear more about that Canon 10 to 18 millimeter lens, leave a comment below, and I can definitely do a video just on that. But let's get into this GoPro Hero 7 Black. Alright, so this is going to give you an idea of what the audio is going to sound like coming off of both devices. Over here we have the Canon SL2 with the Rode Video Mic Go, and over here we have the GoPro Hero 7 Black. It's a pretty windy day here, but you can definitely see kind of what the subpar wind conditions are going to do to each of those microphones. Now, real quick regarding the Hyper Smooth, look at this GoPro Hero 7 Black. It is much smoother than the Canon, even with the 10mm lens. Great job, GoPro. This Canon SL2 is a very tiny DSLR, and even then you can still see that it takes up a good amount of space. And a lot of times when you're shooting with it in public, you don't want to take it out. It can sometimes be awkward. When you don't want to bring that DSLR, it just pops right in your pocket. It makes a big difference. Okay, so we are headed down to Hayden's soccer game right now. One thing I did want to do for you guys is actually show you another audio test. Today's weather is pretty fantastic. There's no wind whatsoever. Yesterday's footage, you could see a lot of that wind coming through the trees, and it put a really big burden on the audio. But as you can see, a much improved audio pickup coming off of this GoPro Hero 7 Black. One thing you do want to make sure of is that you are not covering up the audio ports, so make sure you take it out of the case and don't put your finger over it when you're recording. Let's talk about a couple of the things that make this camera really special. The first being the most obvious, which GoPro has been touting, hyper smooth. And yes, contrary to some haters out there, this thing really does do a fantastic job on stabilizing the footage. Number 2, time warp. This is a really cool feature that is very unique to the GoPro. It's something that every videographer or cinematographer talks about the challenges of accomplishing, and this product is able to do it with relative ease. Now, of course, there's other things like much improved audio, FPS 240, it's waterproof, it shoots in 4K, the list goes on and on. Now, if you're like me, you love product reviews. And the really unique thing about this camera is that some of the people that have been reviewing it and saying that it actually has potential, or even that it's great, such as Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat, and many, many more. They've reviewed this camera, and not only do they say it was solid, but you can actually see them utilizing it in other videos that they do, especially that time warp feature. A lot of the times, product reviews talk about a camera or a device and how great it is, but you never see them utilizing it as a tool in all their videos. But the bottom line is, people are using it. Now let's talk about what I personally don't think is as important in buying this GoPro. Number 1, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, the 4K. In my opinion, 4K can sometimes be more of a burden rather than a tool for when you're shooting video. Now, the most obvious problem that you run into with 4K, and a lot of people have probably experienced this, is editing. When you go into Final Cut or Adobe Premiere, I'm a Final Cut guy, 4K puts a ton of strain on your computer. And yes, you could always upgrade to the top of the line computer. That's a huge additional cost, especially if you're only looking to spend $400 on this camera. Now, I kind of already said it earlier, but I'll repeat it. Why I think you should buy this camera, or me personally, why I like this camera. Number 1, the hyper smooth. Number 2, the time warp. And number 3, 240 frames per second. Now I know people have said 240 frames per second is on the previous models, and that is true, but if this is your first GoPro, you can do a lot with that 240 frames per second. That 240 frames per second is unique to this price point, because the majority of entry-level DSLRs that you're gonna buy only have about 60 frames per second, which is much, much weaker slow motion, and you're not gonna be able to do as much with it. Another feature that this camera has that entry-level DSLRs do not is waterproof. Now again, this is obvious, and previous GoPro models have this as well, but if you're looking to get a camera and you don't know if you should get a GoPro or an entry-level DSLR, you really gotta think about how you're gonna be utilizing this on a daily basis. We love to do things like go to the beach, go to the lake. I'm afraid to take this DSLR out onto the water. It's not waterproof, and I have kids to look after, so I don't have time to baby this camera, but the GoPro Hero 7 Black is definitely something I can bring out onto the water, have the kids around, and not have to worry about this camera getting wet. So in my opinion, this is a fantastic camera to get if you're just looking for essentially a point and shoot style camera for doing things like going out with your friends or shooting family videos. You can focus on the storytelling and not the camera, which is ideally what you want to be doing when you're making movies. But again, what do I know? That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.